asked Nigerians to blame government. Plus, the United Kingdom warns over reliance on Russian gas as G7 ministers meet in Liverpool. Hello and welcome again. Now, Nigeria and Burkina Faso have pledged to enhance the bilateral and trade relations between the two countries. The West African country made the pledge at the opening of the third session of the Nigeria-Burkina Faso Joint Commission in Abuja, Nigeria. During the third session of the Joint National Commission, the two countries will sign agreements on key issues to enhance cooperation to prevent, suppress and punish trafficking in persons, especially women, children and other key areas. Nigeria's Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Gabriel Aduda, who declared the session open, said that the two countries have enjoyed bilateral cooperation for a very long time. Ambassador Aduda said the meeting is to revisit issues so as to strengthen the cooperation and the implementation of agreements for the benefit of the two countries. He further said that the joint meeting is geared towards the signing of Memorandum of Understanding on human trafficking, women empowerment, care for persons with disabilities and the elderly, among others. Other areas of cooperation include MOU in the field of information and communication technology, information, media and press, trade cooperation, defense cooperation and security cooperation. The formal joint commission parley to be co-chaired by Nigeria's Minister of State, Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Zubairu Dada and his Burkina Faso counterpart, Alpha Bari, on Monday, December 12, 2021, is to consummate the signing of memoranda of understanding between the two nations on many key priority areas. Now on COVID-19, the General Authority of Civil Aviation announced the suspension of all flights to and from Nigeria due to Omicron concerns. The authority also updated approved institutional quarantine procedure for citizens coming to the kingdom from travel suspended countries. However, those who spent not less than 14 days in a non-suspended country are excluded from the decision. GACA stressed the application of the institutional quarantine procedure for 5 days to foreigners coming from Nigeria while submitting the PCR results for the first and fifth days regardless of the vaccination status. The home quarantine will also be applied to citizens coming from all suspended countries for 5 days provided that traveler submits the PCR results for the first day and fifth days regardless of the immunization status. Now on diplomatic fireworks, with ongoing diplomatic fireworks between Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates, the Emirati Minister of Economy Abdullah Al-Mari has said that it is unreasonable for Arab nations to retain the slot of Nigeria-based Air Peace airline at the Sharjah International Airport. The minister, who is also the chairman of the General Civil Aviation Authority in the UAE, described as unjust the decision of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority to withdraw its approval for Emirates Airlines' winter schedule, cutting down the carrier's passenger flights to just once a week. Al-Mari made this known in a letter penned on December 10, 2021, and addressed to Nigerian Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika, recalled that Nigerian government had on Thursday in a letter through the NCAA Director General Musa Nuhu whittled the flights of Emirates Airlines to just one per week. Nigeria had about a week ago lifted the ban on Emirates Airlines flights to Nigeria after suspending the carrier from operating into Nigeria for several months earlier due to concerns over UAE carriers' requirements in the management of COVID-19. Nuhu had stated that following the lifting of the ban, the UAE-based airline applied to the Federal Ministry of Aviation for approval of its winter flight schedule, consisting of 21 weekly passenger flight frequencies to Nigeria, noting that Nigeria approved the schedule in the spirit and intent of bilateral air services agreements between both countries. He had, however, expressed dissatisfaction that Air Peace Airlines, the only Nigerian airline that operates passengers flights to Sharjah International Airport in the UAE, requested 3 weekly passenger flight frequencies, but was granted only 1. Now, on ASU's agreement, members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities have threatened to embark on another industrial action following a 3-week ultimatum issued by the union last month. They, however, called on well-meaning Nigerians to prevail on the federal government to honor the agreement reached with the union. The lecturers made the call on Friday at separate briefings held in the northern and southern part of the country, where they said the government's actions has left them with no other option than to withdraw their services. At the end of the meeting of the Ibadan zone of ASU held at the University of Ilorin, the zonal coordinator, Professor Oyeba Miji Ayegoke, said the union has been pushed to the wall over the non-implementation of the Memorandum of Action reached with the government in 2020. He explained that the union has planned another strike because of the failure to fully implement the MOA. The Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment has inaugurated and sworn in 10 new executives for all Commodity Association under the aegis of the Federation of Agricultural Commodity Association of Nigeria. Newsmen report that the executives were put in place to oversee the activities of all Commodity Association and the export of agricultural commodities from the country. Dr. Evelyn Ngige, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, who inaugurated them, stressed the need for Nigerians to start looking into the agricultural sector as a new source of income. The president of FACAN, Victor Nyama, represented by the state coordinator on contract farming, Isaac Njonugwa, in his remarks commended the federal government over the inauguration. Nyama said that the inauguration was very important for the growth and development of agricultural sector in the country. Speaking over the ban of charcoal exportation, he said that it was understandable that the move was to stop deforestation. He, however, noted that plans were underway for afforestation by replacing the charcoal trees that are being felled. "78 Nigerians who are on scholarship to study various courses have arrived in Russia," the Nigerian embassy in Moscow has said. The students who are part of the second batch of the 2020-2021 academic year scholarship under the Russia-Nigerian Bilateral Education Agreement arrived at Vnukovo International Airport in a statement issued by the embassy. The embassy noted that Russia has continually maintained excellent bilateral relations with the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and it has since during the Soviet era extended several scholarship opportunities for the training of Nigerian professionals in different fields. The Central Bank of Nigeria has disbursed 5.7 billion naira to farmers in Bauchi to aid them during the dry season cultivation of wheat. This was disclosed by the CBN controller Bauchi branch, Salabu Idris, at the Secretariat of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. According to the Apex Bank, dry season farming is a rather simple process. However, the CBN has noticed that many of the Nigerian flour mills have gone out of business and that overall output has slowed. Idris noted that the Apex Bank has taken initiatives to reach out to farmers through groups, ensuring that only those who are targeted benefits. According to Idris, there are new seedlings brought in from Mexico, which have a shorter time of cultivation, unlike the local one that takes a longer period of time. You're watching News Live. When we return, youths under the ages of concerned northern Nigerian groups have lamented the deteriorating insecurity in their parts of the country. Details of this and more when we come back after the break.
Welcome to News Plus on Viewer Television. I am Charles Doke.
Hello and welcome to News Plus on Viewer Television. I am Joy Malik.
Hello and welcome to News Plus. I am John Matike.
Hello and welcome to News Plus. I am Ike Omarton. Hi, my name is Ike Omarton. Being an anchor has been a tremendous experience, from editing the news to reading the news. As an anchor, you have to be objective and impartial. Sometimes you have to put on a very indifferent look, a stoic character, such that you don't display your emotions. But then the stories that we tell, from politics to the economy to insecurity to education, also affect us. And as journalists, we're also affected by stories. From the teleprompter to the lights to the camera to the action to the reading of the news, it's all a synchronization of various activities at the same time. Sometimes you have to listen to feedback, sometimes you have to stop, sometimes you have to continue. Sometimes, there are technical hitches that we can never overlook, but then you have to come up with a strategy, you have to come up with your professionalism to ensure that the audience do not even know what is happening behind the scenes, and then you just have to carry on.
Well, welcome back and glad to know you're still with us. Well, if you're just joining, here is a recap of the top stories. Now, you've heard Nigeria, Burkina Faso to enhance bilateral cooperation. And also, the Academic Staff Union of Universities threatened to go on strike, asking Nigerians to blame the government. Plus, the United Kingdom wants over-reliance on Russian gas as G7 ministers meet in Liverpool. Now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar says education is significant to the development and security of any country. As a result, he believes there is a need to force parents to ensure their children are educated even at the basic level to have a peaceful society. The former vice president made the remark while delivering the convocation lecture titled Diversity, Education and Autonomy, Developing Nigeria in the Years Ahead at Achievers University, Owo in Ondo State. According to the former presidential candidate, severe consequences for parents who refuse to send their children to have free primary and secondary education will prevent a situation where Nigerians have millions of out-of-school children. Beyond basic education, he stressed the need for a variety of options for post-secondary education, university polytechnic colleges of education, vocational training for those who will rather acquire vocational and technical skill for particular trades. The former vice president, however, advised that while people prioritize education, they should also make full use of the nation's diversity for the development of Nigeria. And on vegetation control, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Babangida Usaini, has promised improved grey areas including vegetation control on the Abuja-Kaduna Road, whose construction is ongoing. Usaini said this while supervising the progress of work on the Abuja-Kaduna Road in Kaduna. He noted that sustained supervision, which he began in 2020, is aimed at ensuring that contractors are up and doing. Usaini also noted that what is usually submitted at the office sometimes does not correspond with what is on the ground, but commended the remarkable progress he has seen physically during the inspection. He explained that with the bad condition of the Abuja-Kaduna Road caused by the huge volume of traffic, officials are doing patches as palliative measures before the new road will be built. The Permanent Secretary further stated that various commissioning of the roads in various parts of the country shows the level of positive progress in road construction across the country. He railed out the roads commissioned as 3 in Azare to Potiskum, noting that on Monday they will be commissioned Shauzind Azare. Now on insecurity, youths under the ages of concerned Nigerian groups have lamented the deteriorating insecurity in their part of the country, citing the recent burning of more than 20 travelers by terrorists in Sokoto. Ahmed said that the region was tired of burying its women, children and men because of insecurity. She also decried the destruction of farmlands and crops by the criminals. Ahmed accused the Muhammadu Buhari's administration of insensitivity to the plight of the North after voting massively for his re-election in 2019. Recall that on Monday, 23 travelers were attacked and burned in Angwambawa, Sabon local government area of Sokoto State. The victims were said to be on their way to the southern part of the country when bandits intercepted their vehicle. Similarly, on Thursday, 15 persons were brutally murdered when bandits invaded Mazakuka in Bare village. Mashegu local government area of Niger State, the victims were said to be performing their early morning prayers when they were attacked by gunmen that came in large numbers. There are also reports that the criminals have taken over many communities in Sokoto State where the terrorists and impose taxes on locals. This Christmas season, the fourth edition of Night of Carols, organized by Splash FM and Legulum FM, was held in Ibadan with songs of peace to usher in the Christmas season. Pastor Fidelis Bamikale, who delivered the sermon at the event, urged the world to seek peace with God to have a better future. Bamikale noted that although COVID-19 had made things difficult, peace with God and peace within us could bring peace back to the world. According to him, the most important eminence of peace is the peace within ourselves. In her remarks, the wife of the founding chairman of Splash FM and Lagelu FM, Onike Po Akande, called on everyone living to be thankful to God. Tunde Olawowu, the general manager operations of the Splash FM and Legulu FM, also encouraged Nigerians never to lose hope of a better tomorrow. In her message, Evangelist Dr. Alabi stressed the need for people entrusted with positions of authority and power to hold the people's trust with the fear of God. The event was graced by Ibadan High Chief Representative of the Central Council of Ibadan Indigents, clergy and people of goodwill, among other notable Nigerians.
Coronavirus has come today, and the whole world is placing ban on each other. This country will say, don't come to my country. This country will say, don't enter. And you find out that everything about the world is pointing to the fact that peace is elusive to the world.
The COVID pandemic came to us as a rude shock, and we thought it was going to be for a short period. Anybody who is alive should thank God, should praise God. You are alive today. It's not through your own power, it's God that is making it possible.
What we have come to tell the world is that in spite of the effects of COVID-19, it is important to come together this way to appreciate God Almighty for making us see another year and to usher in Christmas. So it's a message of hope for us.
In showing that they fear God, they should correct some mistakes and then, put things together. And we pray that the Lord will help them to do it the right way they should do it, because it's not easy. It is because we are not there. If we are there, we know that we will make mistakes even more than more that they are doing. So we just pray for them that the Lord will help them and see them through.
Feel the spirit, feel the rhythm. It is a moment for worship and praise, a time to connect with the Lord. Right here on Gospel Light, I bring to your home screens everything the gospel, from musical countdowns to having your favorite gospel artist right here on the program, and as well reporting any gospel event around your area.
You are the strength of my life.
Well, I feel blessed and privileged.
Enquiries for sponsorship for advertisement, do contact us on our email at gospellight.ng@gmail.com. You can as well follow us on our social media platform on Instagram at gospellight.ng, and you can also contact us on 081-3216-1451. Do Remain blessed.
This is where we get to have your favorite celebrities sit down, rock our chair for you to get to know them better.
This is something, is not a business that everybody knows.
When you're DJing and you play, there's one song that you can just drop and everybody just like, hey.
So don't panic too much and don't be, oh, give the ball to me, because most of the time when people do that, as soon as they give it to them, they lose the ball.
Right, because I'm from the north, I'm from Kaduna, so it's something that's been really close to me, and I've known people directly and indirectly that have been affected by it, so it's something I'm really passionate about.
He's been waiting longer than me, then he started saying, oh, you're not sorry, you best give me my money so I can get out of here, or put me on a flight now.
So, as a businessman, what industry in Nigeria would you say is the most lucrative?
So obviously we can talk about the main ones that everybody knows. Whiskey, Davido.
Watch Celebrity Q&A with Lanzi on Viewer Television, channel 191 on Startimes and channel 2097 on Tstv. Viewer Television, giving you your voice.
Welcome back. Gabasawa Women and Children Empowerment Initiative have called on Nigerians to support justice and fight against sexual gender-based on girls and minors. The Borno-based organization reveals this during a press briefing with journalists to mark the 16 days of activism to mark International Women's Day. Stakeholders called on community leaders, religious leaders, and individuals to join the campaign against rape and assault on women and children, and encourage rape victims to report such human rights violation to relevant agencies. The event also aims to improve awareness on SGBV issues and strengthen collaboration with the state government and development partners in addressing the menace.
Have a role to play. Once again, the MCM and her partners defend the rights of women and girls to enjoy equal rights in living free of violence and reaching their full potential through a strategic and coordinated approach within the states.
And the government is now placing that such a girl should be expelled from school. And where is the perpetrator who impregnated that girl? We will see cases that they will say, yes, he is in GSS Kaza, in another school, he is in GSS Kaza, in another school. He is comfortable here. The sky is his limit, while the female child is...
When you compare the number of cases we have here, we have very limited number of cases that have been prosecuted. So we're supposed to have higher than this. Then we have the other challenge is, apart from the police gender desk officer that we have in the command, we're supposed to have other police gender desk officers in each of the police stations that we have.
Pregnant women have been encouraged to attend medical facilities for antenatal care to access free services as a way of prevention from obstetric fistula, which often causes discrimination and stigmatization among women. Canadian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Kelvin Toka, who made the call in Bauchi during an inspection visit to National Obstetrics Fistula Center, Ningi, also identifies early and forced child marriage, among others, as one of the contributing factor to vesicovaginal fistula, VVF, hence emphasizes the need for all hands to come on deck in order to reduce it to the barest minimum. Our Bauchi State correspondent, Awal Hassan, completes the story.
This visit by the Canadian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Kelvin Toka, to the National Obstetric Fistula Center, Ningi, was to see the success of their intervention and support to the Nigerian government in the health sector, particularly towards reducing the prevalence of vesicovaginal fistula, VVF.
it's really an amazing facility. I think it's helping so many people. For people who don't know, obstetric fistula is really a terrible condition for young women, for older women to deal with. It leads to a lot of discrimination, exclusion from society. People feel left out and feel discriminated against based on this condition that really is not their fault at all, right?
As the saying goes, prevention is better than cure. So also the need to identify some of the major causes of vesicovaginal fistula, which is more common among young women, contributing to the high mortality rate in Nigeria as put forward by the Canadian High Commissioner.
And we know that women, especially younger women, are more likely to experience obstetric fistula when they give birth at a very young age. We know that being young and giving birth before your body is ready to carry a child, to deliver a child, can lead to many complications, including obstetric fistula. But it also leads to high maternal mortality as well, which we know is a huge problem in Bauchi and in Nigeria more broadly. So we want to encourage women to seek to know that proper ANC antenatal care services are there. They're being offered by primary health clinics in Bauchi State, that those are accessible to them, and free services. So please go to your local primary health care clinic to access antenatal care services.
This partnership with Global Affairs Canada also helps in identifying some other ways of improving the reproductive health care of young girls in Nigeria.
The project itself, with funding from Global Affairs Canada, also looks at engaging young girls, enrolling them, ensuring that these girls remain in school, so that these girls at least are able to complete their junior secondary school, and sometimes even their senior secondary school. And we know that girl education, when we have girls in school, these girls are able to have knowledge on the importance of antenatal care, and even the importance of these girls coming to deliver in health facilities.
The project, which is being supported by Global Affairs Canada, provides free fistula repair service, social integration, as well as economic empowerment. Awal Hassan, Viewer TV News, Bauchi.
Now from the international scene, Parisians let out a cautious sigh of relief Saturday as they watched water levels in the Seine River finally begin to drop following days of miserable flooding. But the rest of the country was not so lucky, with 3 new deaths reported. The Seine, which runs through the city, burst its banks after days of heavy rains, causing chaos in the city. Some public transportation and services and riverside businesses were shut down, while the world-famous Louvre Museum scrambled to move 150,000 pieces of art to higher ground in a painstaking operation, closing its doors for a second day Saturday. The Interior Minister earlier said more than 3,000 firefighters were mobilized and more than 200 national civil security personnel were helping in rescues as the country declared a state of natural disaster. More than 90,000 residents living in the area surrounding the City of Lights have been left in darkness as floods wipe out power service Friday. Thousands who were evacuated from towns like Nemours, south of Paris are starting to return home, only to find many of their possessions destroyed. Some have lost everything. Now, Britain's top diplomat welcomed a group of 7 foreign ministers to Liverpool on Saturday with a warning that free democratic nations must wean themselves off Russian gas and Russian money to preserve their independence. Foreign Secretary Liz Truss, in hosting U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and other G7 counterparts for weekend talks in the northwest England port city as the wealthy nations club faces growing tensions with Russia, China and Iran, Truss told broadcasters that a military move on Ukraine would be a strategic mistake with severe consequences for Moscow. The US and its NATO allies are concerned Russia's movement of troops and weapons to the border region may be a prelude to invasion, and says they will inflict heavy sanction on Russia's economy if that happens. However, Russia denies planning to attack Ukraine and accuses Kyiv of its own allegedly aggressive designs. The Liverpool meeting will be the first international gathering for Germany's new foreign minister, Annalena Baerbock, a politician from the environmentalist Greens who has previously opposed Nord Stream 2. Britain is not very dependent on Russia's gas, but London's final district and property market are major hubs for Russia's money. A large explosion rocked a Palestinian camp in the southern Lebanese port city of Tyre on Friday night, injuring about a dozen people, according to rescue workers on scene and a Palestinian source inside the camp. The state-run national news agency reported an unspecified number of deaths, but local media and civil defense workers on scene and there had been no fatalities. A security source also said fatalities have not been recorded. The NNA reported that a blast emanated from a Hamas weapons depot in the Burj al-Shamali camp, and a judge had ordered security forces to launch an investigation. A number of armed Palestinian factions, including Hamas and Fatah movement, hold effective control over roughly a dozen Palestinian camps in the country, which Lebanese authorities by custom do not enter. The security source said the fire had since been brought under control. The area surrounding the blast had been evacuated and rescue crews deployed, the Palestinian sources said. More than 30,000 people in northern Cameroon have fled to Chad after ethnic clashes erupted at the weekly, claiming at least 22 lives, the UN Refugee Agency said on Friday. Violence broke out in the border village of Ulumsa in a dispute between herders, fishermen and farmers over dwindling water resources, the UNHCR said in a statement issued from Geneva. It then spread to neighboring villages, 10 of which have been burned to the ground. The clashes have displaced thousands inside the country, forcing more than 30,000 people to flee to neighboring Chad. The violence is unfolding in Legon Chari in Cameroon's far north region, the tongue of land that lies between Nigeria to the west and Chad to the east. The UN figures for those seeking refuge and death toll are far higher than numbers given earlier by other sources. 8% of the new arrivals are women, including many who are pregnant and children. They have found refuge in the Chadian capital of N'Djamena and villages along a Chad bank of the Lagoon River.
يوم اللات كله قاعدين يدوسوا أدوات زماشي كك يا سياسة رتين السادة ناس شيفا كله بقوا
أنا إذا تماني تشو لكن آخر ما شفت لكن إذن ده بيني وهسه أنا اليوم ده ذات بيني شفتها يا أنا قلبي قلت أول أنا ما مرقي قلت ما نمرق الجاب الله ده يرفع الله وكلنا فينا الله لكن فاتانا مرقنا
دي تودان كلنا له كل ونيا kuma kul godolum lelun da jike signalum nek mara site kul ngirenda ngirim jingarom kar si laji se dese kuma se asu jangan si jelum ne kusajelum.
In recent decades, the surface of Lake Chad, of which the Logon River is a main tributary, has decreased by as much as 95%. Fishermen and farmers have dug vast trenches to retain the remaining river water so they can fish and cultivate crops.
And that's all on News Live, but before we go, a quick recap of the headlines. You've heard Burkina Faso, Nigeria to enhance bilateral cooperation. And also Academic Staff Union of Universities threatens to go on strike, asks Nigerians to blame government. Plus, the United Kingdom warns over reliance on Russian gas as G7 ministers meet in Liverpool. Thank you for your time and company. And my name is Phillips Livin. Enjoy the rest of our programs.